In this video, we're going to update some of our WebMap item properties via the JSON and the item properties itself. So open up the update item properties.py script from the WebMap item folder. We'll first take a look at updating the JSON properties for an item object. And that's where this update method for an item object comes into play. So let's head over to documentation for this update method. The update method updates an item in a portal, such as ArcGIS Online. The parameter we are interested in is the item properties parameter. It is a required dictionary, and we can see the table below for the key and value pairs. The keys here represent properties that we can update from the JSON configuration. We're going to update a subset such as title, tags, snippet, description, and access information. The update method returns a boolean indicating success that the update was committed or failure if the update did not take. Let's head back over to PyScripter. We're first going to access ArcGIS Online. We're then going to use the content manager get method and supply in our WebMap item ID, which will be the item ID for our API Python WebMap from our training folder. The get method will return an item object that will assign to a variable called item. This variable item will now be an item object that represents our WebMap item. Let's pop on over to ArcGIS Online. Here I am in our training folder. I'm going to click into the API Python WebMap item. We are going to use the update method and the item properties parameter to update the title, the summary, the description, the terms of use, and the tags. So I'm going to grab the item ID here. You can copy it from the item or from your notepad. I want to head back over to PyScripter. I'm going to paste in for the WebMap item ID. We now create the update properties dictionary. You can obviously call this variable whatever you want, but inside the dictionary we need to use the keys from the table that we saw in the documentation. We'll set the title to we renamed our webmap, our summary, which is the snippet, to we updated our snippet, description to we updated our description, our tags, we updated tags. We'll set some license info, which is the terms of use, and we'll also set access information, which is the credit/attribution. We now want to update the webmap item. We've created a variable called status here that we're going to apply the calling of the update method to. Scroll up. We have our item object here, which we are going to call here. So item dot and the update method. And we want to use the item properties parameter. I'll set that to equal our update properties dictionary. We expect status to be assigned true or false. True if the update was successful and false if the update was a failure. So let's run the script. You can see we will return true, indicating that the update was indeed successful. So let's head over to ArcGIS Online and check it out. I'll scroll up. You can see we still have our original API Python WebMap, description, summary, and tags and so forth. When I refresh the page, you can now see that our title has been updated to we renamed our webmap. Our summary is updated. Our description was updated. We added terms of use. Our tags updated, and so did our credits and attribution. So we have successfully updated the item object for our webmap. Let's head back to PyScripter and update a couple of item object class properties that we saw a couple of videos ago. I'll comment out our first example, and in our second example we are going to set the item to be favorite and attempt to give the item a rating of 4.5. Here we are simply calling the item object and the property from the documentation. We can set as favorite using true or false. True will be favorite, false will remove it from being a favorite, and we can set the item rating using a float, which I believe can be between 0 and 5. Now we're going to see an error when I run this item.rating, and the error will explain why. So let's run the script. And we can see the error. You cannot rate your own item. You can rate others using the API, you can just not rate something you own. But what happened when we set our item to be a favourite? Well, let's head back over to ArcGIS Online and check it out. If I scroll up, we can see I still have this option here to add to favourites. But we have already done that via the API. So let's refresh the page. And we can see it is now removed from favourites if we wanted to. If I click back into the Content tab and into My Favourites, we can see that we renamed our WebMap item is now in our favourites, and we could remove from favourites by clicking this star icon. In this video, we saw how we could use the update method for an item object to update some of the properties for our WebMap item. You can also set some of the item object class properties. In our example, we set our item to be one of our favourites, and we also attempted to give our item a rating. If we did not own the item, that would have been successful, but you cannot rate your own item.